What? What? What is he doing? Oopsie. Hello everyone, welcome to day 2 of match day 2 of Group A. Today Germany versus Greece playing against each other, and I'm joined here today by Tenetron and Bubbles, who is still doing the mannequin challenge. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well, thank you. I'm waving.
You're shy?
Can't see it, but I'm waving. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to see these two, Germany versus Greece. I think there's some really strong players on these nations, and I have no idea who's going to win, but I'm excited to find out.
Absolutely.
Doing great as well. Coming to you from the basement bunker again. So definitely looking forward to Germany's what Germany's going to do today. Their backs are a little against the wall, so should be a lot of fun.
Talking about back against the wall, yeah, let's take a look at the situation here in Group A. Since France won yesterday against the Ukraine, Germany is also forced to win today, because otherwise, if Greece is also at 2 wins, there's no chance for Germany with only 1 game left to advance to the semifinals. So a lot of pressure here today for Team Germany. What do you guys think? How should they go into this match? Should they first play safe, or should they go on a fast 3-0 here maybe? Or, I mean, if you can go like this into a match, I'm not sure. Probably not.
I think the strat in any event is to play your strong things first. Your strong decks, your strong players. Start out strong, and then in the later games when you have your weaker decks or your weaker players, you already have that confidence advantage. You've got that morale going for you. I think it's far better to put your opponent against the wall and sort of have this edge up. Even if, like, mathematically it makes no difference, I think you're better off starting with your strongest resources and then falling back afterwards. I think it just plays more mind games with your opponents.
I can definitely agree with that. I'm definitely interested in what Germany is going to bring today. We saw a lot of Alpine from them, basically in every format, or at least for the first 3. They tried to work Alpine into like their Pauper. They tried to work it into their Pure War. So it'll be very interesting to see if they still have an extremely Alpine heavy approach, or if after it didn't work out for them in their first match, if they're going to try some new strats here.
So yeah, Bubbles, you already mentioned some very good players here today. So we are going to take a look at which players which team is bringing today. So for Germany, it is Darkness again with I think he's the second most experienced player in the Nations Cup with 12 matches so far, with a 66% win rate. Then we have Wild Eyes with 4 games so far, 75% win rate, and Terror out today, and new submitted into the team is Airball with his first Nations Cup match today. So he is probably... Oh no, there's another. We will take a look at Team Greece after this. There's also a newcomer for Team Greece. So yeah, a lot of experience, a lot of successful matches from 2 of the team members. So stat-wise, maybe a little advantage here for Germany. But look at these stats on Team Greece here. Kowalski won 2 of his 2 last Nations Cup games last week. So did Zilder. He also won his game. And I think last week Dodo was in the team, is now out for Espinosa Georgios. So I think we should just agree on if we call him Georgios or Espinosa. I think we don't want to say the whole name the whole time. I think we just go with Georgios because this might be his first name. So yeah, he's also new to Nations Cup experience. So maybe the two new players being the deciding factor here. What do you guys think? Or is it the old experienced players that has to carry the game and go for the win here for their team?
You know, there's almost always like a new player, and everyone's like, they put an old player against a new player, and they're like, oh, this is an easy game for this guy. He's just gonna thrash him, and then the new player just like completely turns it over and destroys the old player. So I don't know if it's gonna be Georgius, or how's it pronounced? You pronounced it perfectly for me earlier.
I think it is Georgios.
Georgus. Okay, I don't know if it's going to be Georgus or Urbo. That's the one that's smashing heads, but I'm certain that one of them is going to surprise us, and whichever one surprises us, I reckon their nation is going to take the whole thing.
And do you know what? They're both playing first match against each other.
Oh, dude, that's exciting.
The pauper format.
The narrative is written.
It's like a love story.
So I'm giving the players the chance to start a match, and then we can already jump into the first one. So as I mentioned, pauper format, so only standard and limited cards are allowed in the deck. And we saw a lot of US Germany in the past. So looking forward to see what players are bringing now. Maybe try to counter that deck. Or just bring Alpine again. Because Alpine is not that bad in Pauper, right? What are you missing? The Enigma probably, which might hurt. 20 seconds, so you don't have a lot of draw, right?
That and the encirclements can definitely be a big deal, big swing. But Germany brought Alpine last time. Greece brought a Pauper deck, mainly focused in US with a lot of Sherman draw. So we'll see if we see that same sort of archetype, that same sort of frontline dependent US deck that we're really starting to get accustomed to in the Pauper format.
You do also miss out on the Obese and the Encirclement. And while these are workable to not have, well, one of the main downsides of Alpine has always been that it's a bit slow to reach the support line. And Encirclement and Obese are sort of your answers to that. They're your way of reaching the support line quickly. So in a meta sort of where artillery is very strong, such as Pauper or something like this, that downside of Alpine only becomes more obvious, and you really have to prep for it. And I think it's difficult for Germany, Italy to deal with that support line, other than like Eagle Claws.
Absolutely.
So Thanatron, because you're a bit more experienced, shall we say, in this sort of thing. Do you think it is just insane to not bring USA main nation to have this Sherman draw? Because obviously the Sherman draw is very, very powerful. Or do you think you can sort of swap them out and bring some other nations main?
So I think that Sherman draw might be the most efficient draw available to the Pauper format. It's definitely not the easiest to pull off because it is frontline dependent. I can't imagine not bringing US entirely because, again, as we see here immediately, the second California is just so powerful, and no one needs to hear me tell them how powerful second California can be. But in a Pauper format where the further restrictions make it even more difficult to remove, I can't imagine not bringing US as at least an ally. But as you said, the Sherman draw is so strong that it just lends itself to you bringing it as the main nation just to try to get that draw off.
That opener from Herbal, though, finding 2 of his chocolate infantry in his starting hand, it's really not what you want to see. Especially in like a mirror match where it's going to be like a real grind of resources. Finding something which is like less than perfect on efficiency is just painful.
Definitely harder to get over here than it would be anywhere else. Yep.
Interesting to see that Germany is bringing Soviet ally.
Soviet and confusion.
Probably,
It does make a lot of sense. So, even after the Ural nerfs, any kind of confusion like double plays are going to be extremely powerful.
But this Nebula coming down, and it's going to be a difficult. Ooh. Do you take the 50-50? I don't think you do. I think you wait until you can Greyhound to the front line. I think you probably just go with the first Marines here.
I would agree.
Yeah, probably.
However, this does allow him to set up some howitzers, and I can see this game very quickly becoming really difficult for Erbo if he has to keep trying to reach this support line, because he's got 2 howitzers in hand. He's got a Flampanzer to kill this Greyhound in a bit. You're gonna need some longer term plans to keep killing the support line. This Kilisha may just be the answer. Sorry, go on.
We've seen a lot of Mustangs as well in the Pauper format, but we've seen a lot of them be dead in hand. People are waiting, I assume, for maybe the Hellcat plane or the Air Cobra. A lot of people seem to be bringing that, but we're not really seeing them go off to any sort of efficient use because the Pauper format, nobody seems to really be bringing too much air power. So, and then we see here he's about to play or thinking about playing that Mustang completely raw with no deployment effect. So perhaps something to keep in mind for the future. There's just not a lot of airplay in these Pauper matches so far.
But I don't like that spot here with Georgios probably having a lot of half tracks in hand, possibly. You just waste, basically just very often waste 6 credits here, but
I would agree.
Looks like it's paying out for him because Georgios is not having any bounce card in hand.
Does have the Flampanzers for the Greyhound. And he's got some nice follow-ups. He can secure the front line if he wants. Or he can just drop like a first Marines and be patient.
He'll take the front line. He'll set himself up for Sherman draw next turn.
Also prevents Erbo potentially moving up the fighter and playing his own Sherman. I think it's a very nice play to take the front line there.
I would agree, especially if he's able to draw into his half tracks, as I have to imagine he has them. Especially if we see a We Can Do It buff here with the Greyhound and the last Chocolate Boy. We just see a massive health buff for Herbal's side. Then those half tracks are going to become even more annoying for the German team.
What's the line here? Go for the Greyhound, We Can Do It?
I think you could also go for the Sickle to try and find some draw.
Or 32nd, We Can Do It?
If you're going to We Can Do It here, I mean, I understand taking, I guess, the 6 damage, the attack with the plane, but I don't really understand We Can Do It without throwing your other low-cost units down to try to spread that buff out.
I mean, he does have to think about Flampanzer here, running out of time. I don't hate this play though, because this does, oh not the Flampanzer, sorry, the Sherman. It does prevent the Sherman. And he may set himself up for a surprise confusion. Now he can confusion this and play the Sherman with the confusion. So he can drop the confusion, drop the Sherman and draw because he now has a US unit in the front line, and then use that first Marines to kill that artillery, which would be a pretty spicy play if he goes for it.
I think he's going for the Flampanzer here, signaling his own unit maybe.
Oh, I want to see him drop the Sherman though with the opponent's unit in the front line, dropping a Sherman.
Yeah, but he has a Greyhound, so I think it's more worse to kill it with the sickle and trade that artillery with the fighter.
No, you might be right here.
I mean, yeah, for the memes it would have been a great play,
yeah,
but...
it would have been awesome. Maybe not worth it, but it would have been cool.
We're doing serious stuff here, Bubbles. We're not here for fun. Or we are here for fun, but not the players. There comes the Sherman.
Espinoza with his own Sherman draw, finally drawing some bounce as well. That sudden strike is going to have possibly plenty of targets here with another Greyhound. Chocolate Boy's still around.
These Panzer 4 F2s though, super powerful. I'm curious if it can swing enough tempo though to keep him in the game, because right now he is under pressure and he's got to find a way of keeping himself in this game.
Yeah, the Mustang has actually gotten some extreme trade value despite not being able to utilize its deployment effect whatsoever.
He's very lucky that there wasn't a half track to counter his Mustang. That would have been disastrous.
And now at this point, with all the damage on that Mustang, it would almost feel even worse to half track it now. But with the patrol in hand, I have to imagine that's where that patrol is going.
We'll probably see him want to move up the Sherman to finish it off, but little does he know that does set up the first Marines trade, which is a fairly efficient trade. Could also go for the Kyusha 50-50, and then if that doesn't pay off, you can then go for other things and sort of secure the Sherman anyway. And if it does work, you can then go for the Bloody Sickle.
Oh, this would not be the greatest hammer play with that Panzer sitting
Yeah.
with that hand coming out soon.
He's not expecting that.
Oh, DFA as well. Very strong removal DFA. I think especially in these formats where
Look at this elbow sitting on double Katyusha here and a 37mm.
I understand, wanting to get that big 5.5 tank out, but the way that these US decks are built to draw off Shermans, it isn't particularly hard for them. Giving him a Sherman back when he already has a huge card lead on you and almost guaranteeing him 2 more draw could prove to not be the greatest move. We'll see how much pressure they can apply with that big 5.5 Panzer. Finally a half track. Somebody's got one.
I keep thinking that the artillery is a half track as well. We sure it's not a half track? It is M16. No, sorry, it is. He's got 2 half tracks in hand for Herbal, no? Is that not a half track on the left?
Yes, correct. Yeah, no, I don't know how I missed that one. I'm not sure how many turns he's been holding.
I was sitting here thinking, oh, you've got to.
Oh.
Yeah,
got
absolutely.
To. That's spicy, not.
And the Sherman prime target for the artillery.
Or the sickle as well. You could actually save the artillery and use it to thin down that guy in the front line.
Maybe try to go for the first Marines with the double caddy with the 37mm, but I like how he's taking the front line, being a little more conservative with his credits. He'll still have 2 credits after this. Don't think he's going to do anything with them though.
I think you pass. If you play
Absolutely.
your second Kyusha, you open yourself up to the Stars and Stripes killing both of them.
Yeah, there would not be really much to gain there. Now the artillery really taking hold. A lot of artillery on both sides.
Oh, but we can do it as well. Meaning he can spam down artillery and then give them lots of defense, which means they'll win the trade war. I do think he should think about trying to take this front line. We do know he has this magical combo of half track and Sherman, so he can bounce the front line, move up, and then draw. But there's really no way to play around that.
An 845th rifle is some healing on the back end for Germany as well. Definitely a new look in their pauper format, and I would say a better look this time around.
Ooh. Ooh, that's a good keep. If this goes to the front line and 2 blitz artilleries in hand and 1 already deployed.
Although we can expect him to not have the front line next turn, because we can see a half track into a move up one of these artillery into a Sherman. He's going to go for the deployment now, favouring the credit efficiency over the playing it safe or keeping his unit protected in hand. We see the half track and then this Greyhound top deck into the Sherman, buffing up these artillery and offering him draw.
An incredibly clutch turn for Espinosa.
Ooh.
And that sudden strike. Suddenly, the tables have taken quite the turn.
Although he can take the front line with this Greyhound, and he's got 2 blitz artillery in hand, he can take out these other 2 artillery on the side of Herbal. So Erbol can clear the front line with his first Marines, push up the Greyhound, drop 2 artillery, and take out both of Espinosa's artillery.
Looks like he sees it. Gonna take his Sherman draw.
Yeah, he's...
Confusion is also not the worst pull in the world right now.
He can only take out one of them now, unfortunately, as he's not got the credits to do both, but still the option's there if he wants to.
Playing straight into Stars and Stripes. Ooh, 17s.
Have we seen that? Yeah, I think that's the
No,
first time we've seen
that's the
that.
first time, yeah.
Although I think even if Espinosa can get a little bit of board presence, there's this Cali sitting in Urbol's hand, just waiting patiently for its time to shine. And we've not seen much bounce this game. We've only seen a couple half tracks from Urbol. I think we saw one Panzer IV F2 earlier. This, if some bounce isn't top decked, this Cali might stick and take the front line. And seeing a Cali in the support line is scary, but seeing a Cali in the front line is terrifying. That is not what you want to see.
Going for that artillery.
The half track. Buffs the half track. Tries to deny the front line from Urbol as much as he can. Could be a great move. Espinosa definitely knows that he's losing this game because he lost the draw war. So trying to keep that front line for as long as he can is probably going to be in his best interest, but it's looking bleak.
There's so many options here for Urbol. He can spam up Blitz artillery, he can go for the confusion trades. And even when he confusion trades, he's got options. Do you kill the 2-2? Do you trade in sickle? He goes for the trade in sickle.
2 Californias in hand now.
And he knows Espinosa has no cards, so he has to top deck the half track or the Panzer. Otherwise, this Cali sticks. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him just slap one down. You kind of want to get him down as quickly as you can, since they're so slow to move. They are a huge threat, but they take a while to get to where they want to go. And things looking rough for Greece.
Yeah, especially because the only chance Espinosa can refill his hand here is with a Sherman, but he's not having the front line to get draw out of it, so he's probably just in top deck mode here the whole time.
Oh, no.
Oh, the second Stars and Stripes, just
Team
on the perfect
Germany.
timing here. Yeah, I think that's...
Not even needed, but will gladly be accepted by the German squad.
I'm just trying to think, are there any you can top deck here?
No, I think there's almost nothing.
Yeah, just some delaying tactics, unfortunately.
Even a Panzer F2 wouldn't be enough to bring him back into the game. And this Cali being down for 7.
Even more draw available to Urbol.
I wanted to see the Sherman look for lethal. I don't think he could find it, but I always like it when people like start mass drawing and digging through their deck. Like, I must have lethal here. Never Werther until we can do it. I'm not gonna save him, unfortunately.
No, just another artillery.
That California with 1 health, just to mock poor Espinosa.
And there you go. It's round 1 to Germany.
Keeping the pressure up here for Greece, or just not keeping it up, but setting a mark here for them.
So Soviet there was triumphant over Germany ally, and I know USA Germany is the most popular so far. But our Team Germany sort of showing off a new strat here by teching into these bloody sickles and Kyushas. Obviously, they do have the confusion as well. It's like a little bit of a hidden play. But I don't see confusions having the same longevity that Sickles and Kyushas have.
And we didn't see a single Ural that entire time, sort of indicating that they're only looking at the trade possibility for those confusions, and maybe not necessarily like a full unit theft, so to speak. But
Sure, sure.
also possible that they just never came up. But definitely a great start for Germany, especially after the way they started losing Pauper in their last match.
So, next match will be standard format. Darkness versus Kowalski. Somehow, Kowalski.
Kowalski already winning the mustache game over every other competitor in the entire Nations Cup. We'll see if he continues that kind of power.
Yeah, very impressive.
I've tried to grow one out to the similar, to try and aspire, and it's just I can't get the style down. That I feel like that's the difficult part. Growing the hairs themselves is the easy part, but it's
for
not.
some.
It's not the mustache that makes the man, but it's the man that makes the mustache, and that's where I'm struggling. So standard.
Standard format.
Most likely to affect our current meta. Most likely, we may see some more Alpine. We may even see things like Heinz. What are you guys expecting to see here? I feel like this is the least predictable round. I feel like it's definitely the hardest round to predict because there are so many viable decks when there's no limitation.
I would agree. And last time we actually saw Greece run a Heinz variant with US with things like engineers to buff units taking the front line, and some stars and stripes as well for that support line removal. I feel like that was not a huge surprise, but definitely a surprise last time. So we'll see what Kowalski brings this week. Looks like some strong brick control for Germany. We see, or I'm sorry, ramp. Tons of ramp here, one big ramp card. Of course, shelling, a staple. He's going to keep his Seaforth, which makes a lot of sense. And it looks like Brit Air for Kowalski.
I'd be surprised if he didn't keep the Monty. Maybe he's expecting this to be a mirror, so he's thinking get rid of Monty, get rid of Shalling. But I imagine the moment he sees this swordfish comes out, he's wishing he kept these AoE pins just to slow Bernard down. He does have War Machine into Seaforth. This is one of the strongest defense openers in the game. He can even go for the Pioneers for it first, and he certainly has high chance of winning this game with this current setup. He just needs to find a couple more resources to combo, and he should be fine.
Definitely has the potential to shoot up the credit gap here.
Close escort coming out, putting on the pressure.
Yeah, these Seaforts are not really helping against bombers.
Not right now.
So Darkness definitely needs to find other answers here. Why Kowalski?
It's difficult to predict what he needs when we don't know what's in his deck, but if he's running Wrath, that is most definitely what he's looking for right now. Bounce the buffed up bomber while also giving you a fighter. Lend-Lease isn't bad, he could just go for the Lend-Lease. But I imagine he's slightly scared because he's only on 12 health, and he's probably thinking, do I need to Blackwatch here to stay alive, or can I get away with this Lend-Lease?
But what could Blackwatch protect against? Not another close air support?
And interesting, Kowalski didn't play his one-cost Gladiator fighter. He chose to keep just the two bombers out, the one buffed, the one unbuffed, and continue doing face damage, even floating 2 credits instead of putting that swordfish out. Or I'm sorry, Gladiator.
Partly about giving the 3 units for Monty, but also about the carpet bombing.
Or even
playing
Stars and Stripes, knowing that ramp is going to definitely be an American support nation.
True, that is also a threat. Taking 7 damage though.
We're not worried about it anymore, though. We don't care about Stars and Stripes anymore, gentlemen.
So luckily
No
Darkness
longer a
found his
concern.
Monty here. That might buy him a little bit of time, but...
And his honey, he can honey into Monty, and then he can go for the Black Watch.
The Churchill is not doing anything.
It's okay, he can retreat the Sexton at some point.
So he needs a good B17 shot next turn.
I imagine we'll see Kowalski use his nuke onto this honey, prevent any more healing from Darkness. Because so long as Darkness doesn't heal and doesn't get a lucky B17, it's going to be difficult for him to stay alive.
Absolutely. The Lend-Lease while the honey's down could, extend this game an entire another turn for Darkness.
Yeah, it's certainly a powerful combo. He does have hand size issues and will probably overdraw.
Yeah, he should go for an hour if need. Gives him more credit so he can play another card next turn and play the Lend-Lease.
Ooh.
Oh,
I think that's pretty strong. I think honestly, you either Wrath or Air Superiority, I believe it is.
Yeah,
Goes for the Air Superiority.
Air Sub to just take that honey out before it causes any more
I
green ticks.
I kind of feel like you drop the Sexton or the Wrath here. Either is fine, in my opinion, but I feel like getting an extra unit down just to pressure this lethal a little bit more, especially when Darkness is so low, it's really quite a lot of pressure. I'd kind of like to see the Sexton over the Wrath because this can ignore guards. If he gets a close air support, he can put it on his Sexton as well. And it's a lot of pressure.
Sounds like Kowalski hears you.
yeah.
Is definitely thinking about it.
He's thinking, do it. Do it, Kowalski. No, he passed it.
Chooses to pass.
Ooh, Kitty Hawk is a great find for Darkness, because he can block one of these bombers if he wants. His only issue is, if he drops this, he doesn't have much wiggle room for much more else. He can technically Kitty Hawk and buff it, so it survives both bomber hits, but you really don't feel comfortable doing that if you're Darkness. And rightly so, because we know that Kowalski is sitting on this Wrath.
The emotes are starting again.
Yeah, Kowalski coming right for it.
His
This is
signature
such a strong response by Greece as well, to just race out to a huge lead in standard, sitting with a lot of power. It looks like, barring some miracle top decks, that they're going to win standard and force a 1-1 tie in today's match.
Oh, he goes for the B17.
But he's still dead with the finest
Still
aura.
dead. He's still dead.
But yeah, I think that was his only shot there.
And there you have it. 2-0 so far.
Greece?
Oh, not 2-0, sorry.
No, 1-1. Greece fighting back here.
Great response from Greece.
So it's interesting. I believe Kowalski is the team for the team captain for Greece. So we've seen the sort of the new players play against each other, and now we're seeing the captains, the masters play against each other. Are we going to get an apprentice versus apprentice next? Is it going to be sort of like going through the ranks?
No, now it's what is the next format? Pure War format,
War.
and Wild Eyes is playing against Zilda. So after the first 3 matches, all players already have 1 game played here.
Beautiful, balancing it out, and some good matches. And I feel like Pure War, it may reflect Popo a bit as well, where you have sort of artillery in Californias popping up. I think the German ally is stronger in Pure War because you don't have these bloody sickles that the Soviets offer in Popper. So I imagine we'll probably see quite a bit of USA Germany and that sort of stuff. What do you feel about it, Thanatron?
So Greece brought USA Germany last time, so dead on, and I could definitely see them going right back to that well. Germany actually brought, again, as we remarked earlier, a variation of an Alpine deck in Pure War. We've seen a lot of Alpine in Pure War so far, They actually ran it with some bigger back end cards. I remember a very strong JU trying to steal some units last week for Germany. So it'll be very interesting if they go away from that deck into a more meta response, similar to what Greece brought in their first week, or if it's going to be, you know, right back to the horse that brought them. Then again, Germany's results definitely not what they were looking for last time. So perhaps they've swept all their ideas from week one under a rug.
I mean, it really just depends how much testing you do, right? I feel like when you're testing for these sort of special environments, you get such a high deck turnover. You're like, I've got an idea. You build it, you do 2 games on it. You're like, that was a mistake. Right, what's the next idea? What's the next idea? I'd like to see something unexpected. You know, Japan maybe would be very unexpected. But I feel like there's some very strong secret decks here hiding that there's just not the play testing done yet to figure them out.
And the worst is the reverse, right? When you have an idea and you play 2 games and both games just go excellent, just whooping up on your teammate, and then you realize that those were just 2 counter picks or 2 lucky games, and then you proceed to lose the next 7 and trash that deck after.
It always happens on ladder. I build a new deck. I'm like, this deck's amazing. I'm gonna climb with this deck, and 5 minutes later, you're like, this is terrible.
The early returns love to suck you in just to break you down.
I feel like there's I feel like you could almost do Britain just for the Thigh guys. Because while started infantry, definitely you can get away with more. I kind of see these events in a similar light to draft, where certain slower cards, which are strong in draft, and certain types of cards, such as artillery, because the game is slower and there's less removal, you can get away with these. And there's more potential for high value and low tempo units. I feel like they could be one of them. They also have these engineers which buff up their units, and they also have these artillery, like the ones which hit for free.
I would agree that big bodies are definitely even more advantageous here than elsewhere. I would think along the same lines, but with the Soviets. I feel like we haven't seen a lot of pure war attempts at some of the really strong Soviet elites, as well as cards like the Pedolyakov that would stop all the deployment effects. Once you take out orders, deployment effects are basically your only abilities outside of units and trades. So you would think that anything to stop deployment effects from activating, which is really just the Russian 2/4 Pedolyakov, could just be, filthy. Kind of like having 2 money machines in your starting hand. Just nasty.
Oh my lord.
Wilder's not keeping the Leopold.
It's a mirror match, but I mean...
Ooh, Ladeshima, interesting.
Paradise having an unbelievably explosive start. He can go for the Alpine, or he can go move up, take out Zilda's Alpine. I think we can expect to see some screenshots of this game going to be popping up in from Zilda in Discord, in the venting channel in a moment.
This is already bleak. This is already bleak, man.
Oh no.
Look at
He's got
this.
draw, he's got extra money. You got a comment, he's got a comment.
Ooh, deciding not to go for the Gebirgsjäger here.
I couldn't tell you why. I genuinely couldn't tell you why.
What is he afraid of?
That Flampanzer couldn't come fast enough. The Flampanzer has never been played faster.
I was always told growing up, don't get credit cards, don't do these sorts of things, don't gamble on all this. But ever since I've started playing cards, I think everyone might have been wrong, honestly. It's really showing me a different light here where gambling for money, it pays off.
Ooh.
I mean, look at this start from Wild Eyes, just so much pressure.
And that JU looking strong. However, I can't help but feel, as you said, Bubbles, that 141 Giebers would have gotten the max buff before he lost that other Alpine unit, and would just be sitting
Yeah.
there big as another thing to deal with ahead of the credit curve. But
Absolutely.
that JU stealing Flampanzers to just kill one drops, he could do it right now. He could spend 2 to kill and absorb that Flampanzer, and then come right for Zelda's money machine. It wouldn't even be a terrible turn. Of course, he's holding a Nebula, so there's better options. But still,
Or he could take the money machine and get a third one.
it's true.
Right?
It's true, and it's Alpine, so it's buffed. It's a 4/4. It's not even a weak body.
I mean, reflecting on why he didn't play it, I think he felt a bit bad with how explosive the start was, and he was
Ooh.
like, I think dropping this many units this early is a bit harsh, and it's just it's not in spirit, it's not a kind thing to do to someone.
Some Nebel on Nebel violence all over the place as well. Killing a JU with a Nebel is incredibly strong. Here we see the Nebel on Nebel, and just sitting on Alpine and Comet. Still looking great here for Wild Eyes. I think he's thinking if he wants to put his double 136 down, or if he wants to take the 4 face damage, and takes the face damage. So I'd have to imagine here we'll see the Alpini regiment just for the curving out. Or I'm sorry, the 136 and the 141. But no, saves the 1 credit, puts the guard down.
I'm still triggered by the Gebirgsjägers in his hand there. Why did he not spend it there turn 3?
Gotta move on, please.
No, I can't. I look at this card and think, why is this not on the board as a 6/5?
Really difficult here for Zelda to come back into this. He does have the obese for this sort of sudden reach with Alpine units, but he doesn't have any Alpine units to really obese up.
Being a Scherzen in an Alpine deck is definitely new. That's very interesting. Some heavy armor for your Alpine.
I suppose part of the logic as well is heavy armor is stronger since there's no removal, since there's no order removal. The only way to deal with heavy armor is through fighting the unit, where you get like maximum efficiency out of it.
Very true. None of this is all a distraction. The Comet Lethal sitting in the hand of Wild Eyes. Every one of these giant Alpine boys that just continue to grow and grow. It's all a distraction. We don't see an Alpini regiment in Zilda's hand. He's 1 short of the of the Decima and the surrender. Yeah, he didn't even need to see the Comet. Didn't even need to know.
Man, he's gonna walk away from that not realizing just how dead he was.
Very true. Quite the hand, quite the high roll from Wild Eyes. I'm sure he enjoyed the hell out of that game.
Oh, that start was just too good. There's not much you can do on Zelda's end there, right?
I mean, it's the classic, right? When you play against another Alpine deck and you see they go first, and you're like, they have it. I know they have it. They're going first. Of course they have it. And every single time they have it. And it's soul crushing. You don't know what to do.
And in Pure War, it's even more distinct, right? Because in a normal match, you might have some through the breaches. Maybe they lay that 1/2 Alpine unit down, and you kill it for 1. So now, it's turn 2 and the board is still clear. They're not getting a buff. They can't lay their Alpine unit to get a draw because they don't have the first Alpine unit down. But you take all those orders away, and turn 1 is even more powerful. Turn 1 is just, could be everything. And then when you have a hand like Wild Eyes,
He had 2 in hand. We found both of them. Insane.
Double fisting ATM machines is not okay.
So next will be Singleton, right? Singleton format, and I think for Germany it is Darkness who's playing, and for Greece it's Kowalski.
So traditionally, it's
the
singleton.
team captains again.
It is,
Heavy
and
hitters.
traditionally there's more control, and these are both control players in my mind. Darkness loves his sort of ramp control and this sort of, you know, Britgus ramp. Even when this is out of meta, I've seen them laddering with this sort of deck. And then Kobasnik, you know, loving his sort of Soviet control, his scorched earth tactics and these sorts of things. I wouldn't be surprised if we get control mirror.
So let's see. There we go.
I think we're in for a real treat.
Versus Soviet.
A real galaxy brain matchup here.
Ooh,
Long range desert group. We're seeing commandos.
Commandos
though?
in Singleton.
Is it Commandos?
Maybe he's
got
also-
Surrey.
Yeah, maybe
I think he's just playing it for the value, just the
Yeah.
value to trade.
Yes,
I
and
would agree. As soon as I said it, I was like, wait, how could you play commandos? You can only have one commando. So yes, you're probably right.
so
Did
too.
I
Yeah,
accidentally
you-
call Kowalski Kobasnik? I didn't do that, did I?
you did it, but it's fine.
Oh no. It's not fine. They're gonna murder me, dude. You know how bad it is when someone gets them confused?
Sometimes you just mix up geniuses. It's not too big of a problem.
Ooh, look at this. 16's rifles.
You know, one time, I remember Kowalski was accused of stream sniping, and it was then later learned that it was Kobasnik in chat, and no one knew who was who. Oh my god, this
Playing the
stuff.
shelling instead of the East Surrey seems like a strange move to me. Just all you're doing with that shelling is halting that first rifles from gaining 1-1. Like you're just slowing the 1-1 down, but it's not mobilized. It's not losing it.
No, he also that also cost Kowalski 1 credit slot.
He's
The
getting
credit
it
change for sure.
already, though. And this sort of
Torpedo attack. Wow, what is this?
I'd just
darkness.
certainly rather have that shelling right now. You know what I mean?
Also, Darkness having to play Monty when he's under no pressure, just to try and cycle the cards and find the draw. And Kowalski is really starting to get quite a presence in the game. Now, we do have some late game bombers and some strong removal in Darkness's hand. However, as far as value goes, he's very much behind. And while you do have strong draw, with Brits like Lend-Lease and Convoy, you can only have one copy of each. So I feel like Soviet have a real advantage at this stage in the game when they have the tempo behind them. Second Cali could be difficult. You cannot Raiden Brigade this. Even if he finds a Raiden Brigade, this guy never takes damage. It's impossible to kill quote-unquote damaged units with this guy because he always counts as being on max heal.
Look at these guys sitting there and growing, growing, growing.
Kowalski also poised to start racking up health for every unit lost as well. California goes down.
Oh, look at the value in Kowalski's hand there.
He's got to start clearing it though. He's got too many cards. What do you do here? I feel like you sort of don't want to move this 5-6 into the front line because you know it's just going to be eaten by Cali. You can push up to the front line very easily.
So that was his only sickle.
It's going to move up to 5-6 even though it's under threat. I feel like there's value in going for the elites here, seeing what elites you can get, see if you can find something you can play. And then you could even consider just playing your Siberian Transfer just to get rid of it. But there is a lot of value in keeping it just because it can reach this Sexton so quickly. It's your way of blitzing up and killing this Sexton. But he does have a couple different... Yeah, he's just going to go for it. He doesn't want to overdraw. Not sure if I agree with this play here, but it's not terrible.
272 guards definitely can, if we get that far, can be a big get for Kowalski.
Oh,
Almost assuredly has 2 of those now, and probably a Yosef.
Do you go for the AoE here on Kowalski to try and kill your own guy? It does free up the thing, but I feel like you want to kill your own yak as soon as you can. I feel like it's getting a little bit out of hand for you. There's value in saving it for the Lancaster, but whether he plays around it is a difficult one to say. Zukov is a good find. He can go for the Zukov and the Zukov and the KV. Getting KV down is very nice. It puts some pressure on Darkness. You know it's going to hit twice because of this War Bonds.
And Darkness being at, a low number of cards here is probably hoping to find draw. So putting that KV down and making that an agonizing prospect is definitely painful.
I mean, and both Manchester and Lancaster die to this AoE here from Kowalski. The moment he's under threat from Bomber, well, he's just going to go for it now. I don't hate it. It frees up his yak, lets him use it.
Ooh.
Not finding draw from Darkness' side. He can Manchester and clear, but I feel like it's not really value right now.
So what is he doing? Carpet, move to the front line. Lancaster face. Ah, he cannot go face since there is the yak. Okay.
It's difficult. It's really difficult. He really needs to find some of his draw. And I think if Kowalski can secure the KV, then he's in a really strong position. Obviously, we know right now it will just die to the Manchester, but Kowalski doesn't know that. I imagine Kowalski very determined to kill the Kali. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the yak trade into it and possibly even another unit just to get rid of it. Gonna go for the carpet.
And Darkness sees that timeline as well and takes away all the trades. Not the most efficient, but it's a Cali in the front.
Ooh, armor train can be good with these tokens spawning out of this, going straight into the California.
Do you go for the Zukov first though to see what your options are, or do you save the Zukov? Because if you drop armor train and then Zukov, you might find yourself in an awkward spot, and then there's no other cards you can play after armor train. Gonna go for it. First rifles and armor train. This is beautiful. A lot of guys that can do little bits of damage to this Cali to finish it off. And too many guards for this Manchester to eat through and allow Darkness to go onto Kowalski's face here.
He's really holding on to this first rifles, but I can't imagine he doesn't play it and wastes the credit buff.
I think he was just thinking, where do I play it?
Placement definitely coming into play.
Number one commando, really not what Darkness needs right now.
He's going to credit brick the hand. Without probably any more fighters, I'm not sure if Kowalski would bring any more. Maybe a Mustang or some sort of an American fighter, but I can't imagine any more Soviet fighters in the deck for Kowalski. And these bombers might be able to just put the turn clock on him, just constantly going towards the face. If he doesn't move some things up here.
If he goes for the Siberian the tractor factories right now, it offers him 2 tanks that can run up and kill it.
Absolutely.
I think it'd be smart just to go for the tractor now. Your tractor factories isn't getting any cheaper. And you really don't care about this 1-1. He's going to go for the tractors. I think that's the smart play. There's
Absolutely.
no... Ooh.
Finally sees the draw that he has been waiting so patiently for.
He's used this carpet bomb though. So Kowalski knows there's no more AoE being drawn.
Ooh, finding some good stuff here.
There's no real way though I can see Darkness stopping his Lancaster die. He can... No, I can't think of any way he can do it. Even if he moves up to the front line and trades into one of them, Kowalski can just trade his guard and then move.
Yeah. I think there's no way to protect it.
But he'll take one of the tanks out. Oh, wow. Minority recruits. He could steal some very valuable bombers from Darkness.
And
Probably too slow of a card. I don't imagine we might even not see it played, but it just feels so daunting, so large sitting there.
but what do you do with your Darkness here? Do you just drop the Manchester and kill the guy in the front line? Because then we might see the minority come out and just take that instantly. Especially if Kowalski doesn't have a way of reaching the support line quickly. It's sort of a get out of jail free card here. There's a bomber, I can't reach it. Well, it's mine now. You know, thank you. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, you cannot use it this turn because it has 3 operation cost. But might still be worse to do it. But there is a lightning sitting in Darkness hand.
Yeah.
So if he bounces this, it just goes back to Darkness hand and gives him another precision bombing into hand.
That is true. That is actually quite a big risk. If you steal a unit with deployment effect, and then you give your opponent that deployment effect again. I'm curious though, how many more bombers Darkness has? Because I feel like he has to play these precision bombers as he plays the Manchester. I feel like he's not got the opportunity to wait. Looks like he's going for either Bletchley or Sonar. It wouldn't be the worst Bletchley, especially with these light infantry. If you Bletchley someone who has light infantry, they're going to be drawing those off the top of their deck. It's really not what they want. But we know Kowalski has quite a scary hand, even post Bletchley.
Yeah, basically his entire hand, except for that new ramp card, would ignore Bletchley.
Do you play around Sonar here and play your expensive cards now? And if you steal someone's Kitty Hawk and then they play Bletchley, where does it go?
Now we're finally asking the real questions.
Does it go into your deck? Does it go into their deck? Does it just what happens to it?
That's a handy mosquito with a big tank sitting with 3 health.
I think he may just go for the Sonar though.
Nah, better get rid of that T-34 first.
Yeah, and some nice little bit of ramp. Never hurt anybody.
Take in mind though, actually, even if Kowalski's hand is Sonar, I managed to miss this. He's got 16 credits. He doesn't really care.
Yeah.
Privateer, very nice card to see played. Very strong card. That ability, so many times people play like a Sendai on it or something, or a Wrath on it, and then you see a good, they're hovering over it and hovering over their card, and they're sort of like, what? Why didn't it work? Now we can see this mosquito get bounced, and then he can deploy the mosquito himself. But
and he's
still,
having the partisans in hand, Kowalski. So any big unit that is Darkness dropping here is just getting stealed and killing himself.
He's got 2 steals as well.
Well, that answers that question. Truly, you are the owner of the mosquito.
Well, with bounce, it goes to your own hand.
I don't know that I was aware of that. Yeah.
Oh no, so with bounce, it clearly states it goes to your own hand. But I've never tried it with Bletchley, so I don't actually know what happens with that.
Yeah, that's
surprisingly, I've just never seen that come up.
I assume it would go to Darkness's hand if he played Bletchley while his opponent has the Kitty Hawk. The logical thing is it would go to his hand. But it's also one of those niche scenarios where the logical thing may not be the thing which happens. That's something you learn very quickly in cards there, that logical does not mean the actual result.
Is he going for the KV here?
Oh, he's got...
Oh, Hellcat.
Oh, he doesn't quite have lethal. He can Hellcat up.
Because of the sonar.
Oh wait, he does!
Yeah, he does with KV.
Yep, well done.
Wow, what an intense...
A good day to die.
battle here.
And we finally see the title of best singleton nation maybe fall from the
Brit
Brits.
US, yeah.
We've heard a lot of talk about finding value in all of the elite Soviet cards, but nobody has managed to actually pull it off. And here we see it pulled off to great effect. I would say that what Darkness was running there was basically the singleton meta. It was what we in Team US have been sort of assuming when we think of a singleton meta is that deck, that British deck with those big Brit bombers, the Sexton, all of those great British elites. So it's definitely really interesting for the Nations Cup as a whole to see that Soviet deck not only challenge but just absolutely wreck what most people think of when they think of singleton.
You know what? I think the key is the ramp. Kowalski played a lot of ramp. He even played the Soviet ramp, the one which draws you 2 and then he ramps you 1. And we saw him out ramp a traditional ramp deck. He went to 16 credits super quickly.
Super quickly.
I think playing a lot of ramp and it actually offers you a lot of ramp with that Workers Unite. It's just a bit extra. And we even saw he was running carrier cover. He didn't get to play it because it got overdrawn. It was when he had his Yak on board. But he's gone like all in on ramp, and I am convinced that that's one of the reasons he was able to play that matchup so effectively.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. So in our final match, right, we're back to standard. Who do you think we'll see here, Bubbles? Do you think we'll see everybody's played, so could be anybody, could be the exact matchup we just watched. Do you think we'll see the team captains here?
No. The players are not allowed to play twice in a row. So the team captains are out. So it's whether the newcomers or Wild Eyes and Zilder again.
I think Zilder is really, really strong, and I would run him if I was in Team Greece. It wouldn't matter who was in that other spot. You know, it'd make no difference to me. I would run out Zilder. He's been on fire lately. He's been killing it on ladder, and he plays his own spice on ladder. He plays it in his own style, and I think I love Kowalski, and he's amazing at the game. But I think Zilder may be the strongest player Team Greece have. Yeah. And I say that with like full respect to the other 2 players, and I think they're good at the game. Just Zilder has been on fire lately. I think he's easily one of the top 10 players right now when it comes to skill.
On that same notion, it would definitely make a lot of sense to see Wild Eyes for Germany.
Yeah, especially in such an important match where if you lose, you're out of the Nations Cup, right? So you have to bring your most experienced and well-trained player to this format, to this final match.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Greece is not playing with the same sort of desperation that Germany is here.
Yeah, Germany has to win.
No pressure, Team Germany.
No pressure, but you have to win, whoever is playing for Germany here.
But I mean, Germany does have the advantage that if they do want to run Wild Eyes, he's been about for quite a while. He's a very experienced player, and while there's a lot of pressure on him, I think he's been under pressure before in tournament settings, and I think it will just go off. It won't matter at all. I think he'll be fine with it. Which is possibly one of the places which Zilder is weaker is his tournament experience. And I think Wild Eyes definitely has the upper hand on that, assuming it is these 2 players. Could be. Go on.
Agreed. Wild Eyes is no stranger to big stakes. Wild Eyes is no stranger to having a lot on the line for some of his matches.
I mean, he's also good under pressure as well because he not everyone knows this, but Wild Eyes is an ex-chess player, and he would play fairly competitive chess with chess clocks, which is obviously like a super high pressure environment. When you got a chess clock, you have an actual clock in front of you telling you how long until you lose. So he is, as far as I'm concerned, the man is built for pressure. You know, you,
Yeah.
you could send him to space without a spacesuit. That man is fine with pressure.
I mean, I definitely had no idea, but I can literally think of nothing more stressful in the world than the chess clock. The chess clock is the difference between me enjoying a game of chess and hating a game of chess. So
It's
that's
just poking you all the time. It's like, hey, by the way, every moment you think you're getting closer to losing. You better hurry up.
yeah.
Chess clocking cards when? Can we start punishing all these filthy control players who like to think before they do things? You know, I quite frankly am disgusted by the notion of thinking.
Thinking
I
is
think
overrated here.
thinking should never be done. If you think thinking is the right thing to do, then you need to stop.
The Jagra man plays on instinct alone, and it is pure.
You don't even count your damage for lethal. You just feel it. You go, I think I might have lethal. And when they sit there on 1 health afterwards, you just go, it was meant to be. You know, it is what it is. I'm okay with this.
The classic, yeah, that should be enough.
Yeah, that should do it. Wait, why is he still alive?
So looks like Wild Eyes has to play, but somehow lost contact here. Ooh. Do we see a repetition of yesterday?
Uh-oh.
Where Vadim could not play match number 5?
So
Herbal-
it's sorry, go on.
Herbal is no slouch, so you know,
Yeah.
they would definitely, I'm sure, prefer. Maybe even Herbal would prefer to see Wild Eyes in this situation. He's definitely the veteran, the pedigreed player, but Herbal has plenty of accolades in his own right. So
Yeah, absolutely. Would have not been too tragic there.
And just to remind everyone for the format at home, because this is the game 5, do you want to share with us what format it's going to be?
standard.
It's standard
That's
format.
standard?
And if we
Okay.
take a look at these standings again in Group A, if Germany is losing this, France and Greece both have 2 wins. So in the final match, Germany can do whatever they want. They can only get to 1 win. And therefore, if they lose today, they're out of the Nations Cup. And France and Greece are just playing out who's going first and who's going second into the semifinals. So not any pressure here on Germany.
But like we said, you know, I think assuming he can fix his cards, Wild Eyes is able to deal with it. And I think Herbal is out of all the players I'd want to be falling back on. If you know, you sort of got your newer guy, I think Herbal's a really strong choice as well. I certainly wouldn't be sad with having him play. I think he's an amazing player.
And no disrespect to Espinoza, but as a third, as the more unheralded third, picking up that position, Herbal is, you know, an extremely strong player for that sort of wild card third guy.
For sure. I mean, yeah, it's certainly no disrespect, you know.
Oh, there we
I think
go.
everyone is a strong
There
player.
we go, finally. So Wild Eyes found his internet connection back. And
Yep, Zilda and
Bringing
Wild
in
Eyes.
Oh,
Alpine
playing the Alpine again.
versus, what is Zilda bringing?
Is it his Soviet Japan? Oh, it is his Soviet Japan!
Is
Here
it the
we
deck
go.
you talked about earlier before the stream?
I believe it should be.
Let's see.
This is going to be some really, really interesting tech.
So, I know he has a really high win rate on this deck. He might struggle with this Clan Panzer and this Through the Breach from Wild Eyes, but it's still... He's got this draw engine in hand, and if he finds 1 or 2 buffs, Wild Eyes could struggle to reach this support line and deal with it. But there is a lot of removal on Wild Eyes' hand. Going for the Gerbs Jaeger. He's got to hope that Zilda doesn't draw like a Type 93 or something like this.
Oh yeah, he's playing with Naval Supply Run.
Yeah, already showing his arty buffs.
Although, I feel like it's risky to play with Naval Support naval supply run pre-5-year plan.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
if you discard your 5-year plan, and I can say Sealda's deck does not have much card draw in it. That is one of its weak points, is its card draw. He's very fortunate to find any. Although he may just go for the buff here. He may feel more comfortable just buffing out a big board.
Oh,
That is
Perfect.
so important top deck there.
It really is, and you have to wonder at what point is it worth it for Wild Eyes just to bring out a V1 bomb and take out one of these AT guns. We may see it this turn. He may take one out and drop the Alpini regiment as well.
Yeah, especially with he can draw on turn 5 with 136 followed by second Alpini as well.
Certainly a few different avenues of play for Wild Eyes. He could just drop that and then drop the big Gerbsjäger, get like this really large unit down and just rely on this. Yeah, there you go. Rely on this sort of juggernaut of a unit.
Now, do we just see the Ura from Zilda right back to and more removal?
I'd be tempted just a 5-year plan as well, where you can. There's quite a few different options actually, but I feel like a 5-year plan wouldn't be terrible. Go for the naval supply run. It's a safe play considering you're going to have 4 cards in hand next turn. But unfortunately for him, this V1 flying bomb is just going to take out one of these. A 3/3 arty ambush is pretty darn difficult to deal with, but a V1 bomb is certainly a pretty perfect way of dealing with it.
And as you said, he'll have a 25% chance to not, or I'm sorry, a 25% chance of nuking his own draw. So
Wild is not going for the V1 yet, though.
Oh.
However, he does have a pretty scary board.
Maybe he's having this honorable. Ooh, but encirclement. He needs to get a Katyusha 50-50 here.
Does. He really needs a Kyusha 50-50. I think you have to go for it. He may not want to, though. There you go.
chooses to not.
But does Wild Eyes have the credits to dupe and hit into an ambush unit? I don't think he does. I don't think he can do it this turn. Because if he moves up this and dupes it, it won't kill one of these.
Yeah, it's a 2-3 still, and not big enough to outlive that ambush unit there.
Really surprised he hasn't gone for this V1 bomb yet.
Oh yeah, now he's
finally time.
Yeah.
And I have to assume that Zoda is running the anti-aircraft guns, and now 2 Flampanzers in the hands of Wild Eyes. So we can really start to see this turn, and with the draw being discarded by Zilda, just an unlucky play.
Although Kyusha into Ura just completely wipe out this board. There is the Through the Breach though. Through the Breach just going to take out the. Oh, that is a pretty big card to draw, I think. It's a very tanky boy that Zilda is going to struggle to bring down. I'm trying to work out what Zilda needs. I don't think he runs 2 5-year plans. I think he only has the 1 copy. So I'm struggling to work out what he can get to keep himself relevant going into the late game here.
Yeah, losing that was really hurting him.
What do you do though here with your Wild Eyes?
Yeah, good question. Probably drop that guard. Because double Flampanzer is also not helping.
Yeah.
Even if one survives, you cannot kill that artillery.
This AT gun is going to have to win the game on its own.
That Wild Eyes play is very strange to me.
Double Shaker. Even if you kill one of them, it's sort of some longevity here. He can chuck down a bunch of Alpine units to set up this encirclement.
I have to imagine he's just laying all of these Alpine units. Yep.
Yeah. Zilda probably just looking for a buff so he can take out this 5/4 for the encirclement.
Whoa!
Finding the Ura. Oh,
top decked.
He's not got lethal, does he? I don't think so.
It is.
Is it lethal?
Yeah. It's 9 plus 5, it's 14. So he's 1 off.
Oh, this is getting close.
So how is
Oh,
Wallace
wow,
ever
guys,
killing
bloody.
5 units here?
He can't, but he doesn't need to. He's got a guard. He only needs to kill the AT gun.
Oh yeah, you're correct.
Wild Eyes still must be feeling sick. He's got to encircle the 5-4, right? It's the only option.
Oh, no doubt. That is the only option. And he has to hope Zilda doesn't get one of his Kyushu.
Yeah, he only needs Katyusha. Oh my god.
Oh,
Just putting the third Alpine down just to get another buff on the encircled unit. It's going to be huge here. Yep, an 8-7.
oh, but Zilda doesn't actually have long to find what he needs. He needs a Zis or a Kyusha. He's used both his Euras. Sorry, Euras.
What is it?
Like,
A sickle.
oh,
Another sickle.
sickle.
Oh no.
Cav.
Well, that 8-2 is certainly gone, so that's helpful. He's just
buying
playing
time.
for
Oh,
time.
and another guard.
Oh, the guard. It won't make any difference though. There's no way he's getting through these guards. He needs a blitz artillery. And I believe there's 2 types of them in his deck. Now,
I would
I don't
say
know how many Kyushas we've seen. We've definitely seen 1 or 2 though.
Yeah, 2, I think. So it's
So-
all on this top deck now. Win or lose.
lethal both sides, no.
It is the
cards in his
Ziz!
hand, and it's a Ziz.
Oh
Wow,
my
that does feel sick.
God.
It's-
Oh. What was that for a
oh
match
my
5?
Lord.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's so close.
The top decks continue to reign over Nations Cup.
I mean, he also
Oh.
was very unfortunate to lose that 5-year plan
The
earlier,
5-year
but
plan.
these top decks really helped him winning that match too. Oh, so close. It was all 1 turn. Next turn, Wallace would have won.
It's a hell of a way for Germany to get kicked out of the running of the cup.
Patriotic into Ura, and then this is just in time.
My heart goes out to Germany and Wild Eyes. That's a rough way to lose.
Oh man. And also a very important factor, Darkness losing both of his matches today against Kowalski. Didn't
Oh,
he?
you had to had to bring it up again for him.
Oh. So yeah,
Darkness was
congrats.
hoping to get through the last 2 minutes of this stream
Oh
without.
Congrats to Greece and France, both already in the semifinals. Now it's
No, it was a really valiant fight from Germany. Let's be honest. It was
Really?
3-2, and it was the top deck Zis for lethal.
hey, that
I-
match
it's-
5.
Top
This
deck
could
sickle
very-
into
yeah.
top deck, sickle into top deck. These
It was very close. I think Germany put up a hell of a good fight here. That Greek spirit.
Very
tremendous showing
close.
and tremendous showing from Greece in total here in the cup. Now, Kowalski and Zilda. Anybody looking at that roster knew those 2 names as soon as they looked at it and knew that they were definitely a force to be reckoned with. But storming their way into the finals.
And
really
Esposito hold his own as well. He
Absolutely.
certainly wasn't just carried by his team. I think he. I would definitely run him again. I think he's a strong player, and I think he's only going to get stronger. But I think he definitely hold his own in these matches.
Look, when I look in chat now, they're 5 minutes behind.
Yeah, I'm watching them.
Yeah,
slowly.
Dynamo, Zilda running out of gas. Yeah.
Oh,
Wait
no.
for these top decks.
Oh, look, wasting as well. The Zilda rip.
Zilda rip. Oh.
Where's the draw? Oh, dude.
Yeah. Oh, what a match! I mean, you could not think about it if you would want to create an intense match. I mean, that's how you would write it, right? Holy moly! Yeah. So, well fought for Germany, but in the end, a little bit unfortunate. And as I said, Greece and France already in the semifinals. So it's just Germany's task here next week to at least get to rank 3 against the Ukraine.
I'd like to see, is my challenge for Germany, I want to see an OTK singleton deck. That's my challenge for Team Germany.
Frank OTK.
You know you can't qualify for the next round. Bring an OTK singleton deck, and if you win with it, you at least go down as sort of legends for that.
Yeah, the fighting spirit prize
Yeah.
to Germany if they're able to pull that off.
Wow, I'm still flashed by this game.
I'm waiting for it to come up on stream so I can watch it again.
Oh.
And then, you know, at some point I'll go onto YouTube and I'll watch it a third time.
Yeah, I mean, at least that match 5. Holy.
It won't be any easier for me to watch any of the consecutive times. Major flashbacks for me to last week. Just you think everything is going well until they draw that one card they need. But that's what you build the deck for, you know? There was multiple Z's in there, there was multiple Kachushas in there, so he had outs.
I remember when this came out and everyone was like, this is too slow to be useful. And now top deck this is like iconic as fuck. It always is there when you don't need it, it shows up. Like
yeah, absolutely.
Yes, if there's a hidden text on it, draw when needed or something like that.
plus 20% chance of draw if opponent has 2 or less HP. That sort of.
Okay, guys. Yeah, really exciting match here today. Unfortunately, also for my countrymen here with the better end for Greece. But GG to both teams, well fought, and I think both teams deserved the win there. And in the end, it was just one card that decided it. I mean, next turn, Wireless would have won, so it could not have been closer. So that's it for today. Tomorrow we are going to see another first-class match here: China versus Canada. Tanatron, also 2 opponents in your group, so I think you will take a very close look to tomorrow's match. And
the notebook will be out for sure.
I expect that. Yeah, we will start same time as today, since this is already 0 o'clock for the Chinese competitors, so very late. Yeah, really looking forward to that. Guys, any last famous words here from your end?
Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you, Spooz, for having us, making it sound like we're dying at the end there. You know, these are our last words before Spooz comes in
and pushes the button. No, honestly, thanks for being here, both of you again. Bubble's first time. Really nice time with you guys. Makes it way more entertaining, and also for me way easier to coordinate all that stuff. So yeah, and also thanks to all the guys that have already been here. Yeah, really cool. And if we ever meet in person, be sure to get a drink on my cost there.
Dude, tennis in Iceland. Tennis in Iceland.
Yeah, maybe. So it's probably 80%, 80-90% that I'm there. So if you guys want to have a free drink, just make sure to also be in Iceland at the World Championship. And okay. Yeah. Chat, thank you for watching. Hopefully see you tomorrow on China versus Canada. Stay healthy, and yeah, looking forward to 2 more insane matches this week. Bye-bye.